Thanks, everyone. It looks like we're moving on Indian Standard Time. We're going to try to keep this short. Is it a presentation? Thanks. I promise you, when this is done, your team copy is going to taste much sweeter. I'm a U.S. patent attorney. Some of what I'm going to talk about is U.S. specific. However, most of it is practical steps that any counsel, whether you're in-house or international, can practice in your patent acquisition, which is what this is about, and prior to that. So I picked the topic of avoiding litigation and crafting a bulletproof patent document. And I think what's necessary is that we need to cut spending. This is an inflated field. I've seen a lot of poor quality patent applications, and they tend to inflate values, give ammunition to trolls, and we're heading into a potential IP bubble. Right? We have massive amounts of money. Facebook gave Microsoft $550 million to acquire AOL's portfolio. Google gave Motorola $12.5 billion about a year ago. And thank you. Litigation is expensive. If you have a bulletproof patent, it will deter your ability to action. People will be less likely to try and invalidate your application, and they'll be far more likely to settle. And of course, generate revenue by licensing. And I also want to talk about improving cohesion between your inventor on one side, your attorney, which would be me, and the government. Clear lines of communication between all reduces transaction costs, increases revenue. So I'm going to talk about how you lay a solid foundation with the initial disclosure research, draft a bulletproof document, and communication with the patent office. Let's see. I was going to talk about should you pursue a patent, but everyone here knows why you get patents. So what I'll focus on, it's nice to see a client with a business plan. As Paul spoke about, where IT drives the business. And what we typically start with at this point is once you have a client who knows what he wants, obviously we do a search, and the search can be conducted in-house, in which case it's nice if the preparing attorney gets a copy of the search results. Ideally, right, it would be nice if the preparing attorney performs the search themselves, which is what gives us an idea of what the landscape is and how we can draft the document with more focus. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Louder? Okay. There we go. So what, at our firm, which is a small operation with big clients, which allows us to tweak our practices in real time, this is the current state where they stand. We perform a knockout search for about an hour max, report any closed matches to in-house, and it gives the attorney a general awareness of the art. Also, if something comes up on point, they can nix and incur no further costs before they've incurred any costs at all. We also interview the inventor. It's hugely important. I've worked at firms where all I receive is a small paragraph, and I have to create a 30, 40-page document out of it. I can do that. I'm a writer for a living. However, we're not on the same page. I don't know what the inventor is thinking. So I like to spend at least an hour, maybe more, exploring the inventor's mind and flushing out whatever details I can, make sure there's no past disclosure that would prevent, that would preclude patentability under, in the US, we have 3510, USC 102. At which point, once I have all the information, I can do a detailed search. Again, you can outsource this if you want. It's nicer if the preparing attorney does this so that I can find a niche. Now, we talked about patents with several steps. You have steps A through F. That's the invention. Sometimes the prior art will reveal A through D and F. So I know that I can draft my document focusing on E. And I record the results from my IDS. I kill two birds with one stone. I can report this upon filing to the patent office for disclosure requirements. Any closed matches can be reported to in-house, suggest alternate approaches to the inventor. This is basically a mini landscape, of course, and side by side with some of the wonderful landscape analyses we've seen here this week, and use it for case ranking. And we also draft a set of proposed independent claims that we communicate to in-house. This is before I've drafted any document at all, only the independent claims, just so we know we're on the same page, and it makes for a more focused application. So at this point, I'm ready to draft my document, and hopefully the groundwork has been laid. This is my mental checklist. Do I have a firm grasp on the novel concepts? Along with the inventor, are we all on the same page? All the material to date is available. This helps me capture my priority for all conceivable embodiments, not just the ones that we think are important to the product, but also to the ones that we might subsequently file continuation applications on. Who knows what the landscape is going to be like 2 years from now? It's nice to have the ammunition given that priority date to do that. I like to establish clear lines of communication between myself and in-house and myself and the inventor. Make sure we have the telephone numbers, email addresses. No one's on vacation for the next month or so. In case anything comes up, new ideas come up, we can communicate them in real time. And all this is important for capturing our priority filing date. Nice to set a deadline so we can move fast. I like to start my drafting with the claims because they provide a foundation. They give me a focus for the document and freedom to adjust. A full-on set of independent claims is the best place to start. That way I can move my features around before I draft the document. Good to start with the proposed independent claims that I've already drafted. Specification, start broad and narrow. I'm going to reemphasize this. The narrative is one of the most important parts because not only is your patent going to be seen by an examiner, it's also going to be seen by a judge and a jury if it gets litigated. And when that does happen, it's very important to know that these people are not skilled in the art. They're lay people. So we talked about this. If you start broad and narrow, it gives you an opportunity to frame your own narrative. And you show multiple perspectives. Again, in large systems and cloud systems, it's nice to say that here's a method from this point of view, here's a method from that point of view, this is a method from the device point of view. You can claim all of these later. We don't need a background and a summary. We don't do that anymore in the US. I'm sure you've seen that before. Some jurisdictions do require to identify background. In the US, we just have the disclosure requirements. Drawings are important. Again, broad to narrow, multiple perspectives, err on the side of inclusion. I like to put at least 8 drawings in my app, if not more. No matter what they are, we just put them in there, start broad and narrow, gives us ammunition for prosecution. US mandates or suggests 3 independent claims, 20 total. Any more costs money, and examiners don't like to see large claim sets. Stick with the 3 and 20. If you need more, you can always file continuations after these 3 claims have issued in a form that tells you what the novelty really is in light of the prior art. If you're dealing with the same examiner, your continuations will be allowed like this. Vary or independent claims, besides your device system and method, it's nice to have multiple perspectives to capture potential infringers. However, don't fall into the divided infringement trap. And I was going to ask for a show of hands if people understood this and how to explain it. But Mr. Murthy did a wonderful job of explaining divided infringement, so don't do that. Draft your claims with single entities in mind. And vary your dependent claims as well, which is a good practice to have. Let's see. Bottom line with method claims is, this is the language that currently works with the Patent Office, although it's also important to have the non-transitory, tangible, computer-readable storage medium for your CRM claims and put that into the spec as well and make sure your embodiment shows the computer-readable medium being non-transitory and explained in that framework, because in litigation that might be construed to be simply a method claim that can be performed by human steps and therefore unpatentable. So conclusion, avoid human action or mental steps, focus on a single entity, avoid divided infringement. Diversify your perspectives all the time. You don't know what the landscape is going to be like, and broad to narrow. Frame your narrative. We like to start 50,000 feet high, explain it like you would to a 4-year-old, and explain it like you would to a science student, and explain it how you would to your wife or your sister or your brother or whoever it is. And also, the examiners are not always skilled in the art. It's nice to be able to call an examiner on the phone. I'll talk about that in a second. And make sure that the examiner understands your invention, even though he is not skilled in the art. So we tend to perform a second attorney review internally. When you've been working on this document for many, many, many hours, you won't spot the most obvious mistakes. Nice to capture those. Submit it to the inventors. Correct any errors. Add new matter. Again, the lines of communication are crucial. Same thing with the review counsel. We get some invaluable feedback from designated review counsel that our clients tend to hire. Make sure that we have them track changes so it's on the record who did what. And incorporating the changes, re-review as needed. And then we're ready to file. At that point, we file. And let's see, how am I doing? Wow, we practiced for 20 minutes, but I'm far short. In prosecution, we get our first substantive office action from the Patent Office, and we tend to amend aggressively. This is a golden opportunity. The examiner has given you all the references he thinks he or she thinks that your patent looks like. Whether he's right or wrong, you get that perspective of the examiner, and we can change features around, shift the features around, and do surgery on these claims. It's not just a matter of tacking in. The amendments don't have to be narrowing. Amendments can completely rehaul the claim while keeping it as broad as it is. So we move non-essential features down. We clarify rather than limit or narrow. Very important point, we tend to focus on contacting examiners as much as we can. This has been said earlier this week. They have fewer resources than you. Examiners got a much larger docket than most patent attorneys, and they don't even read these documents all the way through. So it's nice to set aside 30 minutes to an hour. I live in Washington, D.C. I can take the metro 10-minute ride, 15-minute ride down to the patent office. I set up 3 examiner interviews in one day, and I end up with getting 3 allowances, because when we take the time to explain it to him from the high-level perspective to the narrow, they will understand and they will be on your side because they're not adversaries. We're working towards the same goals. And stay civil. Once bitten, twice shy. A lot of them are scared of patent attorneys. Let's make sure we're nice to them. We pursue allowances aggressively because RCE costs are rising with the new fee structures. And cons, divs, and SIPs are our friends. Double, triple your patent portfolio. Get more claims on the same invention because you don't know what the invention is going to be like after prosecution. Final thoughts. A lot of talk about portfolio management, and there's some amazing landscape analyses and things going on. It's mostly a top-down approach. Zooming in, however, can identify and eliminate fatal flaws, and that's what we do. And this is why I believe it's important to hire a patent attorney that knows not just how the patent office works, but also how the courts work in order to draft your document that will survive litigation, because that is the true test of a patent. Anyone can get an allowance. And this confidence in quality will eventually lower transaction cost. It's better for everyone in this field. And I like to establish and exercise community by sharing, sort of like what we're doing here, but in real time, all the time. Get on LinkedIn, join some groups, suggest some ideas, answer questions, ask a question. You will get a lot of perspectives. And that's it. I'm out of business cards. It's the last day. Here's my information. You can find me later. Thank you.